It's time. We are coming to you live from Emporia, Kansas for the Queen Stage podcast presented by Live Cycling.
Welcome to Queen Stage. We're here to spotlight the athletes, stories, and action in women's cycling, giving the sport the attention it deserves. And we're going to do so with the quality, depth, and personality the sport demands.
I'm Rosario Torres Davis.
I'm Betsy Welch.
I'm Anna Maria Roque.
And I'm Molly Herford.
Welcome to the Queen Stage podcast. This is our first live recording, so bear with us. But we're really excited to be doing this in Emporia, of all places. This is the birthplace of gravel racing. It's a town that means a lot to myself and to my co-host, Anna Maria Roque. I think between us, we have done 5 editions of Unbound Gravel. I've raced the 200 and the XL. Roque has raced the 50, the 100, and also the XL. So clearly, we're really into Emporia. We're really into gravel. And we're really into women's cycling.
Yeah, it's such a great place. And last time I raced was 2023, and it was very, very muddy. And I'm guessing it'll be very similar this weekend, but hopefully not too bad. As I said, super excited to be here. And thank you all for coming out, and to our listeners at home for tuning in.
And big thanks to Live Cycling. This wouldn't be possible without them. And I mean, it's really impossible to overstate what Liv has done for gravel and women's cycling in general. So thanks for having us here, Liv.
Yeah, Liv has been part of the evolution of women's racing pretty much from the get-go. And what an evolution have we seen here. You know, this race started 20 years ago with 34 men, not a single woman took part in that race, rather. And look at us now. We've got 5,000 participants, and a lot of the participants are women, and the prize purse has come a long ways as well. Nowadays, the winner of the elite race will walk away with a share of the $60,000 prize purse that's split equally between the men and women.
I just have to give a quick shout out to somebody in the audience, because she is very responsible for how many women have raced Unbound. Christy Moan, lifelong Emporia resident. She, she's been a part of this event forever. Her husband, Tim, was one of the first guys back 20 years ago. But in 2016, Christy spearheaded the 200 Women 200 Miles campaign, which was instrumental in getting more women to this event. And, in the last 5 years, we've seen even more women racing Unbound. We've seen the professional field of women really grow. And we've also seen the racing really change and take off, and the women's race in particular. It's kind of funny because gravel started out as a mass, there was a mass start, and that was kind of seen as like a great equalizer in some ways. It was sort of like, cool, we can all start together. But it turned out that for a women's race, that didn't really work. And that was something athletes were very vocal about. It didn't foster good racing. It didn't foster a women's race. So Lifetime, the promoter of Unbound, and Unbound really started to set a new standard for women's racing. In 2023, there was a separate start for men and women. So this is, almost 20 years after this event begins, we have a women's start. In the following year, that women's start got longer. So women started 15 minutes after the men. And that was the year that we saw that 9-up sprint at the finish line, which was like unprecedented in a women's gravel race. So again, the bar kept being set higher. Last year, interfield drafting was banned. And now what we're seeing is a legit women's race. There are almost 70 elite women going to race on Saturday this year, which is super cool. And yeah, every time a change like this happens, a new standard is set, the bar is raised, and we get better racing. We get more women, more opportunities. So thank you, Christy.
Yeah, and progress doesn't just happen on race day. It's the women being able to earn a living doing this. And even this year, we saw the introduction of a pregnancy policy for Lifetime. So those in the Grand Prix who get pregnant, they can safely defer their entry to next year without a penalty should they want to race then. And it just showcases how women are taken seriously for the first time in the sport.
So our first guest is actually a great one to kick off with because she's been around. She's actually been with Liv since 2014. This is Ludi Scholz. She is the global gravel category manager for Liv and Giant, and she is also Liv's off-road category manager. She does a lot of very interesting things behind the scenes, so we're excited to chat with her. Like I mentioned, Ludi's been with Liv since 2014. She didn't start out as a category manager, however. Ludi, can you tell us your first job working for Liv?
Yeah, my first job working for Liv was actually, so I'm from Austria, and I was hired from the German side, and they asked me to promote Liv in Germany. And so therefore they hired me, and I had to come to the office in Düsseldorf, which is like 8 hours away. So this is basically what I did. I came there, and then I had to drive around demo trucks, and I was like demoing bikes. I did a lot of women's camps, and also I did a lot of mountain bike clinics because my background is actually from the mountain bike side. And so this is what I was doing, just like touring around, trying to get people on board, convince all the shop owners that Liv is a brand dedicated to females. And that was really hard in the beginning. That was really, really hard.
What was the pushback?
Oh, the pushback is just like, rigid mindset. And also just like the question, why do we need a shrink it and pink it bike? Why do we need this? What is this for? It was like the classic things which you always heard. It was always shrink it and pink it, and that's all the women need. Put a bunch of, butterflies on it, and it's going to be fine. So, or maybe a different stem, whatever. So this was basically the mindset. No one understood that it is not all about just the bikes. It's like, they didn't understand the whole concept. It took quite a while to get that into people's minds.
That's a perfect lead into my question. How do you design a gravel bike or a bike in general for a woman?
Yeah, so what we do is like we listen to athletes. We have a bunch of really great athletes, and we get their feedback. We always come from the last iteration of whatever bike we have, and then we ask, so tell me about the bike. And I want to hear what's bad about the bike or what they need to improve. I don't want to hear what's good. I want to need what can I improve for the bike to just, make the better iteration of the previous one. And it's not only the athletes. The athletes, of course, they play a big role. But it's always also female consumers. Or when I did demos, I had a lot of contact with women and got to know what the pain points are. And also I did clinics, and they told me how they feel, the position, they told me problems about soft tissue. So it's the whole concept, from the position to the touch points to everything. And so this is where it started to make sense and to look deeper into what's actually needed and what women feel comfortable on.
It's pretty amazing that Liv has remained so stalwart in its commitment to this.
Yeah.
We've seen other brands experiment with a women's specific line, and Liv is the last one standing. And I'm just curious, as other brands have moved away from this, why has Liv doubled down in its commitment?
You just said it perfectly. You said, that a lot of competitors gave up the women's line. We're not a line. We're our own brand. And this is what's so great about it, because like we really have the commitment of not only, having another colorway, as I said, or another development under another brand. We have our own brand. We have women in positions who are dedicated to what we need. We have key positions which you normally don't really see or get in the cycling industry. And so, it's just a commitment we can show with our brand and just follow through, and not only with that I said, like one bike. It's just like a complete bike line. It's not the bike line. It's clothing. It's the community building. It's, as I said, it's much, much bigger. It's more about just getting really women a platform to shine in a normally male-dominated industry.
Yeah, absolutely. We know a thing or two about that, don't we, Betsy? In the 12 years that you've been at Liv, what is your personal favorite bike that you worked on, or has it not yet been developed?
You know, it's every bike I work on is my favorite bike because I'm my own size medium, so I make the geometries for me. I'm like the classic average medium, and I never fit on any of the bikes. You know, I was always between small and medium, and so I was like, you know what? Looking at the anthropometric data, and I'm right in there. So I make the bikes my size medium, and then we break it down. So all the bikes I make are my most favorite bikes because like I know what I want to have because I still ride a lot, you know. So I know what I want to have. I know what other people want to have or what women need to feel comfortable or to feel racy or, you know, whatever you make, you have to kind of identify. And so it's hard to say what's my favorite bike. I mean, currently it's a gravel bike currently, I would say.
Good answer in Unbound.
Yeah, I know. I so clear.
Would you ever race Unbound? Any desires?
So I have to say I am mega competitive, and that's why I would never race it because I wouldn't be able to bear all the pressure. You know, if I can't perform to my best, then then I rather. You know, I rather would not race it. I would, though, ride it, you know, and have fun and be like, okay, I don't see it as a competitive thing, but I want to share this because it's an amazing event, you know. There are so many women who actually feel the same, you know. I would say I would ride it, but I wouldn't race it.
That's great, yeah. That's the beauty of gravel. You all get to line up and do the same course and take the day however you want to do it. You want to race, go race, go have fun.
I would maybe do like a shorter ride and not like the 200. Probably not.
Great.
Well, we are thankful for you to be here. Ludi, we have to kick Ludi off the stage because we don't have enough microphones. But when we open it up for questions, she'll be back.
Yeah.
So thanks, Ludi.
Yeah.
And we are waiting for another athlete to join us. But in the meantime, we will start chatting with Melisa Rollins, who is also an athlete for the Liv Racing Collective. You may know, Melisa has an incredible backstory, and I wish I had time to go into all of it. She is a chemist by trade. She is someone who came into racing not necessarily late in her life, but a little later than some of the current women on the elite circuit. She is probably best known for her win at the Leadville Trail 100 mountain bike race in 2024. It was a win that was, I mean, that's an amazing win, period. But given her backstory, she has done Leadville. How many times had you done it before you won it?
I think I won it on my 7th try.
7th try. So, like, that's pretty...
Not that I was trying the first few times, but trying to win, trying to finish.
She's done the Leadville 100 running race. Like, this girl has a history with Leadville. But anyway, she is much more than that. She has raced on the road. She obviously is racing gravel. The past 2 years, she's been in the top 3 of the Lifetime Grand Prix. 3rd last year, 2nd the year before.
Yep.
She's on quite the tear, and we're super psyched to have her here. Actually, our second athlete has arrived, so we'll bring her up to the stage right now and introduce her too.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and introduce Peta here. Please come have a seat.
Her walk-up
intro. Peta Mullens, an Australian cyclist for the team Tango Lift Racing with a very impressive background in racing that spans road, cyclocross, mountain biking, gravel. What am I forgetting? You've probably done
a little bit of mountain running at the start.
Mountain run,
yeah.
right?
Like Melisa at Leadville.
Yeah.
That was more like walking, mountain walking.
I'm on the Australian time zone, so I'm a little late. Sorry, guys.
All good. All good. Peta has 15 national titles to her name. And you went from American crit racing to American gravel racing, joined the Grand Prix in 2024. You have seen like the evolution of women's cycling in just about every discipline. What were the fields like now, and how have the women's field, and how have you seen that change over all these years?
Yeah, I feel like I've been spoilt to see the professionalization of most female cycling disciplines. And then I actually did the first Unbound just a few years ago. That was the first female-only start wave, and I actually wasn't even that keen to do Unbound, but it just felt like such a significant point in women's sport in gravel to be able to have our own start wave, and I just wanted to be part of that. I only did 100 mile, but I got to do the cool part at the start. So, I think the last few years, gravel has shot to heights that I didn't think it would soar to so quickly, and I think that is because of the Lifetime Grand Prix.
Great. What about you? How have you seen changes during your career?
Yeah, so as Betsy said, I sort of started my career as a gravel racer. I mean, I would consider Leadville's not necessarily a gravel race, but that was the first race that I did. That's how I got into racing. I wasn't a cross-country mountain bike racer. I wasn't a cyclocross racer. I wasn't a road racer. I was a Leadville 100 mountain bike racer, which is like a really long, Unbound style. Yeah. Like it's kind of the same crowd. Racer. And so my evolution of sport as a professional sort of grew alongside professionalism in this like discipline of sport. So as I got better, I got to see as the fields sort of grew and progressed and the sport got more, it got deeper, it got more competitive, it got like, there's more tactics involved, there's more like sponsorship, etc. All of that, new bikes, all of it. So I feel like I've gotten a front row seat to how the sport has changed in a way that I don't know if somebody was just popping in, they maybe didn't necessarily get to see. But I think that the Lifetime Grand Prix has had a really, really big impact on this race. I mean, gravel races in general, in the way that the sport has improved. I mean, women's sport in particular, it's given women spotlight. It's given equal prize purse, like you said, here and at all of their events, which is massive for us. So, yeah, that's how I've seen it develop.
That's great.
I think to add to what Melisa said, because I think we've come into the sport from different angles, really. Like Melisa came into the sport looking for a challenge, and then has found this sufferfest pocket of professional racing that she really thrives in. And then I have sort of stepped into gravel as an extended platform to what professional cycling already was. So it's nice to come from both sides.
In a way, yours is almost now traditional when it comes to gravel, right? The long off-ramp to retirement, as people like to call it.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've sort of spoken about in gravel for the last few years, is road riders who have turned to gravel as a second career, really. But what we're seeing now is people who are coming into gravel as gravel racers, specifically for that, picked up by sponsors for that, and they never venture outside of the discipline of gravel, which is exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think what's so exciting for those racers is that the ones just coming in is they don't know a world in which there was not equal prize money, or there was not separate starts, or there was not, all of these things. And I think that's something that gravel should be really proud of. And also that you guys should be really proud of for making the norm. Like, it's just, that's the norm now. And I know that a lot of racers won't even go to races that don't have a separate women's start or, equal prize money. Would you say that that's kind of the case at this point? You don't have to do that anymore.
I would say that gravel women have piggybacked a little bit off the back of the women's professional road peloton, where the women made a lot of noise because they wanted to see a change. And it took a long time for that change to happen. And then I feel like in gravel we came and we stamped our feet a couple of times and the earth shook and it happened overnight, Nelly. So I think we're grateful that people paved that way before gravel was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I remember how scary it was to start with the men. So I'm just glad that it has evolved to having women only starts, because that some of my closest near-death experiences have been on start lines of like 1,000 racers that are all trying to go mock speed.
And for women, it really lowers that barrier to entry. I really wasn't interested in doing mass start races with thousands of men. Like, I came to Unbound to race the Lifetime Grand Prix because it was a women's only start, and that felt like a really safe space to be able to do it. Like, a higher level of encouragement, a higher level of safety, and yeah, it's just nice to be able to sort of trauma bond with other women out there in the rolling hills in Emporia.
A crit racer wants to be safe.
Yeah.
How odd.
Ironic.
Can you talk to us a little bit about how you made that switch? I mean, you've done very vastly different disciplines.
Yeah, I think I'm always seeking not necessarily the challenge of a 200-mile gravel race, but I'm seeking like the adventure of it still. The adventure, the party, the atmosphere. I mean, I just bought my friend who's never been to a gravel race just down this main street here in Emporia, and she was like, oh my God, the expo is amazing. And I think that's sort of what really drew me to the event, not necessarily suffering solo for 12 hours out on course, but the atmosphere and the community and the party that happens around the events is something that I think is actually really close to the crit scene. And that's what will keep gravel sustainable in my mind. Is the fact that there's more than just a bike race happening in town.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, let's talk about the suffering a little bit, because this is your second time at Unbound. First time wasn't a great success. You want to share what made you come back?
Yeah, so the first one was tough. I knew I was underprepared, and I'd actually done 4 crits just a few days before it, and I'd won 2 of them. And I thought, oh, maybe I'm not going so bad. And I got 2 hours into the rolling hills and I was on my own. After a 100-mile, I hitchhiked back with a South African girl, and I got to feed Brendan Johnson, our teammate and your boyfriend, at the last feed zone. And then I got to come into the main street and watch Lockie Morton win the race. And I actually think it was kind of a really nice first experience of Unbound, because I got to experience more than just my own race. I got half of the women's race where they broke the course record in a massive bunch sprint. I got to experience the feed zones in the professional men's race, and then the first Australian winning the event, and to be on the finish line and see the camaraderie and how excited people were. And I feel like I got sort of the overall Unbound experience. And so this time I was like, I think I need to go back and get the full race experience. So here I am. Maybe not the XL ever.
This year, I don't want to turn around and see you at the finish of the men's race, okay?
Yeah. I promise.
I don't want to see you till the very, until the women come in.
Yeah. Deal.
Well, you had that experience that year, and unfortunately, Melisa is perhaps going to have more of a full Unbound experience this year off the bike. Melisa, will you tell us what happened back in March that has taken you off the start list for tomorrow?
It's been a long journey since March for me, but I will give a brief description. Last year in September, I was asked by the current reigning world champion of marathon mountain bike to race the Cape Epic with her this March. And so I derailed all of my winter plans and changed my entire spring and prepared in a way that I'd never have. And 1 week before the race, I was super ready, and I was doing a very average person thing, which was going to the grocery store, and I took a scooter, one of those electric scooters, back to my accommodation, and I went over a speed bump and fell and broke my elbow. So the last 2.5 months have been spent sort of like on a bit of a roller coaster journey, trying to get my elbow straight again. We're not quite there, but I have been doing some bicep curls with the 1 pounder. They do make those. It's pink, if you're wondering. But yeah, so this year at Unbound, I unfortunately will not be able to race, but I get to watch Peta finish her first Unbound.
The pressure.
And a lot of people finish their first Unbound. I'll hopefully be able to make it out to the feed zone. I'm going to be able to speak a bit on the live stream, which is kind of fun. But yeah, I get to have a bit of a different Unbound experience, which I'm kind of excited about. I don't know. It's nice to be hanging around the expo and not have to worry about, getting off your feet and worrying about how the rain's going to affect the dirt tomorrow.
I mean, you're being very positive, and that's important. But I know this has been really hard for you. You've shared a little bit on social media about how difficult it's been, and I know enough endurance athletes. I kind of am one, like, we don't do well sitting still and being told that we can't do things. And you are also, your career has been going like this. You were so ready for the Cape Epic, among other things. I'm just curious sort of what it's been like and how you've been able to sort of get through this. Are you talking with someone, professionally? Have you been talking with colleagues about what it's like, coaches, Liv, how do you get through something like this? Like, it's a really big deal.
I talk to pretty much anyone with ears about it. I want everyone to know how bad I feel. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's been really helpful to talk to. There's so many people that have some kind of, like, it's not novel that I have had a broken bone. Everybody sort of knows somebody or has had one and understands what it feels like to be taken out from something that you really wanted to get done. And I think just holding on to the perspective that, yeah, I'm young and I'm going to be able to do this longer, and it's not the end for me is a big part of it. But yeah, I've gone a little crazy sometimes, which maybe is part of my professional bike racing career, is also a mental illness. And as soon as I could, start walking again after breaking my elbow, I started, walking a lot. And then it was like, then I was hiking a lot. And then I was like, well, if I run uphill, it's still safe, right? Like, if I run up but then walk down, then it's like still safe. But I've kind of been my own worst enemy in this recovery, and ended up, like 5 weeks after I got surgery on my elbow, I was hiking and I tripped and I fell and I landed like flat on my face, and I ended up tearing my tricep. So it was a bit of a lesson on that day that sometimes you need to slow down, and right now is that time. I don't usually get to slow down in life or in bike racing, especially. You're not supposed to slow down, actually. But right now, I get to. And the way that I'm doing that is 2 days after I got surgery on my elbow, I adopted a sourdough starter. She's actually really old, like 100 years old. And I have baked something new every single day, and this is how I have stayed sane.
And she's been hand delivering these baked treats to neighbors and people in the town, and it's crazy.
It's true.
The Broken Elbow Bakery, right?
Yeah, that's what I called it, the Broken Elbow Bakery. Because what you learn when you're a professional cyclist and you break your elbow and you can't cycle anymore is that it's really hard to have friends. You don't have a lot of friends. When you can't do the thing that you do with your friends anymore, it's hard to have friends. But it's really easy to have friends when you put out there that you just made a batch of fresh donuts.
But you also broke 2 wrists last year in Australia, so it's not the first time the start of the season sort of been a little bit rocky, and then you've had success later on, right?
Yeah, I'm a professional broken spring person. So I've luckily been able to turn it around for the second half of the year usually. So I think that is probably why I am able to keep a level head about everything. I just know that when the time comes, I'm going to be ready.
Great. I want to talk a little bit about your mom, and specifically about how your mom, bike racing, it's also very intertwined for you. In 2018, you finished Leadville hand in hand with your mom, which is so very special. Do you think that her life and her career would have looked differently and more like yours if opportunities for women in sports were different then?
Yeah. I mean, really cool story. Probably one of my very favorite moments of my entire life was that one in 2018. Yeah, what Betsy didn't tell you when I started doing Leadville 8 years ago or however long ago it was because of my parents. Yeah, my entire family started doing Leadville, and my mom has finished it 20 times.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have a really good example of someone in my life that I get to watch who has done really freaking hard things every single year, and she becomes better because of it. She's a better mom because of it. And yeah, I am very curious what the answer to that question would be. I think that if she would have had opportunities to do things like this when she was my age and growing up, I mean, she didn't exercise growing up. She didn't start riding a bike until she was in her 30s, and she didn't find out that she was good until she was in her 40s. So, yeah, I think that she finds a lot of joy in watching me do what I do, and I think that having her support is a big reason why I'm here, which is really cool. And, I mean, me having her to watch as well is a big reason why I'm here.
Man, that just shows you what exposure can do, right? Like what the next generation of women athletes are going to do, watching you guys up here.
For sure.
It's so amazing.
And what do you guys think we still need? I mean, yes, like women's gravel cycling is vastly different than when your mom started doing Leadville, or even vastly different from 10 years ago. But we have 70 professional women lining up tomorrow versus, I don't know, what's the men's elite start list?
130.
130. Are we still missing things? Like what else can we do? That may be a really hard question. If you asked me that, I'm not sure I could answer it.
I think it's really easy to sit there and compare elite fields. I actually prefer to compare the amateur field, the number of female participators on the start line, because I actually think comparably the elite women's field is actually quite stacked. If you look at the amateur field, there's no way that, 40% of that field is women, and that's kind of the number that I would like to see increase. I think the depth is really increasing so quickly in the professional women's field, but we still have to find a way to encourage more women to take on this really challenging, tough, dirty, maybe muddy this weekend, this challenge of 100 mile or 200 mile or even 50 mile for some people is a huge challenge. And I think we need to find other ways to sort of encourage people and uplift them, so that they believe that they can accomplish that. So I think the women's professional field is actually progressing really well. It's just more on that amateur scene. We need to be able to inspire a few more people, and I think a hot pink gravel bike is exactly the way to do that.
I was going to say shrink it and pink it was not the way, but I guess maybe it is. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think exposure, but I mean, the cool part is that, that the pro women's field is growing, which is the exposure that this sport needs. And perhaps that does inspire more women to get out and do it.
I just think storytelling is really important, because I think there's a lot of amazing stories. Your mum is a perfect example of an amazing story, and obviously she's inspired you, but I'm sure many other women along the way. So I think as long as we continue to share the stories of hardship and camaraderie, and it's a really special place out there in the gravel world.
Thanks.
Yeah. Shall we... Someone here on the couch has been very quiet, and I'm dying to get to her because there's an aspect of racing and the bike industry we haven't talked to about much at all, and that is equipment and how do you maintain it and tinker on it and keep these women rolling.
My name is Paige Stuart. I've been a mechanic with Liv since 2021, and I've gotten to work with amazing athletes like Peta and Melisa and many others. And I'm honored to be on this stage with all of you. It's so cool because usually I'm hiding in a backyard at the team Airbnb, just working away this day of the week right before the race. So it's really feels special to be up here. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to bring you out of your comfort place in the working on truing wheels and things like that. So yes, Paige joined the Liv team in 2021, but she has been wrenching on bikes for a long time. She worked in bike shops for 7 years before that. She went from, correct me if I'm wrong, but from working in bike shops in Moab to going to the UCI Mountain Bike World Cups.
Yep. When I started Liv in 2021, I started on the UCI Mountain Bike World Cup team over in Germany. And Albstadt was my first race, actually. And I still occasionally do work with the World Cup team when they need a fill-in mechanic. But my main yearly gig is with the Lifetime Grand Prix series. So I follow these guys all over the country.
How did you get started tinkering on bikes?
Oh, I've always been a bit of a tinkerer, and I kind of came into racing in a different way. I came through sort of vintage towny bikes. That's sort of how I got into. Yeah, so I came at it just from tinkering on bikes, and then ended up being a service manager at a bike shop with a whole crew of mechanics, which during my time there, I was able to recruit 4 other female mechanics. So I really ramped up our percentage of female mechanics at our shop. And then Liv, the team manager at the time, Liz Walker, sort of went headhunting for a female mechanic for the World Cup team and sort of came knocking on my door. And it was an opportunity I didn't want to pass up. And it's been a very formative experience for me, and I'm really glad that I said yes to that opportunity.
In your early time working in bike shops, were you like very acutely aware that you were, I'm assuming, the only woman or one of the only women? Like, was it a thing?
I actually got into it because I met this other woman in Moab, Utah, where I live, that was working at a shop. And she was that aha moment for me. I was like, wow, your job seems really cool. I want to do that. So she was that representation I needed to see, and I try to be that representation for other people.
Speaking of which, you once told a story about a little girl seeing you at a World Cup, and you gave her an aha moment. Can you share that story?
Yeah, so at the UCI World Cup mountain bike races, it's a bit of a carnival atmosphere where all the teams have their tents lined up next to each other, and you can see all the mechanics working on the bike. So lots of families that are coming to spectate the race sort of walk these aisles of mechanic tents, of team tents. And a little girl with her dad, they kind of stop and just stare at you as you're working on bikes, and you sort of become a bit of a spectacle. But the girl, you could just see her eyes pop open and saw me wrenching on bikes and was like, Dad, that's a woman wrenching on a bike. And he's like, yeah. And you could see she just had this moment of realizing that's something that a woman could do, because the percentage of women wrenching on bikes at World Cups in particular is confined usually to the Liv tent, who has gone out of their way to hire female mechanics for their team.
Yeah. Globally, we saw a statistic somewhere that or in the U.S., it's maybe 9% of mechanics are female. So there's quite some disparity happening there still. What do you think is it going to take for that to improve?
I think having people that are already in the industry hold the door open for other women, doing what Liv has done and actually actively recruit women. There's lots of opportunities now with wrench nights. Like I hold a wrench night at the shop in Moab, and companies like Feisty Media have been having these wrench weekends and inviting women to come learn how to wrench on their bikes. And I think more events like that, and also brands actively seeking out women for roles.
Yeah.
I'm curious what a weekend at Unbound looks like for you, or I meant more than a weekend. when did you arrive? Like, what day did you get here? And what does every day look like? And then, of course, what does tomorrow look like?
Right. This is my 5th Unbound. They're all a little bit different. I arrived here on Sunday, and we have these new Devote and Revolt prototypes that we want to race this weekend. So my whole week has been building up bikes for our athletes to have these brand new, fresh prototype bikes. So I've been building lots of bikes this week in the backyard of the Airbnb. And kind of once the race starts tomorrow, I kind of breathe a sigh of relief of like, oh, if everything goes well, all I have to do now is cheer and hand out bikes. And it's just like, it's like the bulk of my work is done, and now I just get to enjoy this race, do some hand-ups, and greet the athletes at the finish line.
That's great. Now, a lot of women, they look at a bike and they're really intimidated about how it works and all the different parts and stuff. Do you have any tips on them to get their hands dirty, and like what's a good place to start when it comes to even just maintaining your own bike?
Yeah, I mean, bike components are quite expensive. So it is sort of nice to start your tinkering on components that aren't going to break the bank quite as much if things do go wrong. But just taking opportunities to get tools in your hand and experiment with things. If you need to grab someone you trust to, you know, sort of stand nearby while you're doing it, but just sort of consult resources. People you know, mechanics at the shop, even YouTube. Like, there's lots of resources out there, and just challenge yourself to do it.
Okay. Have you learned things from Paige, watching her do this for the last 5 years for you?
Yeah, I mean, I worked in a bike shop for 3 or 4 years, and then I owned one for 5 years. So to come to America, actually, when I first came to America, and still now, my 2 main sponsors are Liv and Shrem, and they both have female mechanics. So that's quite amazing to me. I feel like it's quite an American thing, which I'm quite proud of, to be able to say the 2 women that wrench on my bikes are both women. Yeah, I mean, Paige she makes her job sound really simple, but she's been changing handlebars. She'll change probably another 20 tires tonight. Like, she's a hardy woman. But I think what I would say if I was to give any advice on working on your own bike is don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, no question is dumb. There's no such thing as a dumb question. Like, I honestly think knowledge is power. And little by little, you won't know it all overnight. It's quite overwhelming. But little by little, you'll sort of pick it up. And lucky to be a SRAM athlete, and it's a pretty simple process. Everything's through an app. You can micro-adjust your gears through an app. And if in doubt, yeah, YouTube and ChatGPT gets you a pretty long way.
Yeah, I got to have the opportunity to change my own rear suspension on my mountain bike at home. And I was so excited to get here and tell Paige about it. Paige is over there. She's like, it's 2 bolts.
No. So proud of you. Yeah. And I was excited to get here and try more of your banana bread.
We're
in homeostasis.
Yeah.
Paige and I.
Yeah. Give release.
Yeah.
It's so good. What do you think? Should we, if you have any questions, we'd love to take them, and we'll just repeat them for our listeners at home. Don't be shy. How old is everyone? You want to go first, Melisa?
I'm 30 years old.
I'm 38.
I'm 36.
Am I answering this question? I'm 45.
And I'm 39. What made you ask?
Because I wish when I was younger, I had this.
Yeah.
I had her since we were 2, and here we are still together, but I wish I had this when I was younger. I'm 58, but 50, and I'm a grandma.
Let's go around the room. No, I'm joking.
You know it's a
That's
women's
impressive.
cycling podcast when.
Yeah. For our listeners at home, she just shared that she had wished that she had this kind of exposure and that she had other women to share this with. I actually want to share a story of a very inspiring man that's here this weekend racing, and he's 93 years old. Fred Smith is going to be like his 6th time at Unbound. So, yeah, I hate to say it, but age is not a number.
Nope.
I do wonder if there's ever a time in the future of gravel where the amateur start will have a women's only start.
Interesting. That would be, yeah.
Yeah, that would be an interesting progression. Obviously, it would be based on numbers at certain races. I still think even in the professional women's field, not every race has the depth of peloton to have our own women's start. I know, I think at BWR Cali there was 5 or 6 women. Nobody wants to race 5 or 6 women for 100 mile, but yeah, something like Unbound, I wonder if there's a place in the future for that sort of start. It's really nice to know who you're racing against.
Yeah.
That's something that I really enjoy in the women's pro field.
Yeah, and you know everyone. You know it's a safe wheel. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely that aspect. Yeah, that'd be great to see.
I think we...
For anybody, because you're all obviously racing these races, at dark points during the race, and obviously the weather might be cause some interesting conditions at Unbound this year. What's your self-talk to know that you have to dig in, keep going, you're not to the finish line yet? When things feel really bad during the race, what are you saying to yourself to keep going?
All right, I'm going to summarize the question real quick. The question is, if things get bad out on the race because of the weather and the conditions, what is the self-talk? How do you keep yourself motivated and keep going?
The floor's open, Melisa.
Last year on my stem at Unbound, I wasn't doing, or I'm not doing it this year, but last year I had a monkey on my stem. And
By that you mean a sticker?
A sticker of a monkey. And this is because on my shoulder, when I ride my bike, there's a good monkey on one side and a bad monkey on the other side. And so we channel the good monkey when we need the good monkey, and we channel the bad monkey when we need the bad monkey. And that can mean whatever you think it means. But for me, that just like helps me sort of like, more than anything, it just like brings me back to the moment, and you're like, oh, yeah, this is gonna suck, but like the good monkey will come out eventually.
Yeah, I think for me, I definitely go through some dark moments in races. This weekend it'll be because I promised everyone on the panel that I would finish. But no, usually for me, I really break it down into segments. So whether I'm like, okay, I'm a quarter of the way into the race, I'm 1/18 of the way into the race, however small I have to break it down. And then if I'm going through a really dark time, I just do one pedal stroke at a time. The only thing that really ever holds me back is illness or injury. And I think they're two things that I'm not super keen on pushing through. But that aside, I think just one pedal stroke at a time. Every pedal stroke gets you that little bit closer. Yeah.
Betsy, how did you get through the XL? What did you tell yourself?
I think I try and differentiate, like, this is hard versus I can't do this. Like, they're two different things. Something can be really, really hard, but I can still know that I could probably do it. That's actually something I did a really hard running race last summer, and that's what I kept telling myself is like, geez, this is hard, and I think I can do it. And the XL was similar. I mean, it was, man, though, it is really tough when you've done 200 miles and you have 150 more to go. Like, that's kind of like, whoa. But I certainly didn't have it as hard as you out there, Rook. I did it in 2022. Weather was great. It didn't start raining until the morning. Rook, on the other hand, had like torrential, horrible mud.
We hiked for 4 hours. Yeah.
Why didn't you quit? I mean, I always say I would have quit.
It's not an option. Quitting is not an option. No, also practically, it literally was not an option. You're so far out there, and I was like, by the time someone can get to me, I might as well just keep pedaling. And like that's what I told everyone. I was like, just keep pedaling. It's going to take so long. It's cold. It's raining. Like, why do you want to sit out here in the middle of nowhere? Just keep going, because you're going to get closer to a ride if you need it, or to the finish line. So that literally was just keep going.
And it really is perspective, because at the end of the day, we choose to do this. It is a privilege. 5 or 6 years ago, I lost my father-in-law to, in Australia, we call it motor neuron disease. I think you guys call it ALS. Mm-hmm. And I think what he would have given, even in his dying weeks, to be able to pedal a bike like I am right now. So, yeah, I think it's perspective, and you'll always find someone to draw inspiration from in that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really want to race.
Yeah, yeah. Think of Melisa. She's like, don't be so selfish, Peter.
Any other questions?
What advice would you give young women who are not cycling to bring them into cycling?
Oh, good question. The question is, what advice would our panelists give young women to get them into cycling?
I'll go. So I think women aren't as inherently competitive as boys. That's just what the studies show. It's not to say that most of us aren't competitive, because everybody in this room certainly is. But just in general, in comparison, we're not as competitive. And I think there are a lot of other aspects of sport that women find enjoyment in. It's not just winning and being competitive. I mean, I love the aesthetics of the sport. I love looking great on a bike. I love wearing high socks or pretty earrings, or I love the coffee shop stops. I love just hanging out with other women on a bike. I think there's so many other avenues that we can draw women in, and I think from a young age, a lot of the reason people stay in sport is because of the social aspect of it. And so because we're seeing more and more women, especially young women, take up the sport, it means there's friends for them to hang out with. So I would say, as someone in the youth, go to a lot of events. They don't have to be national level events. They can be club races. They can be club rides. They can be wrenching sessions, whatever it is, just to tie them into that social side of the sport, because that's what keeps us coming back, really, is that connection with other women in the sport.
Yeah, I don't think I could say it any better than that. But honestly, I mean, it's fun. There's a reason that I want to get back to riding my bike. It's because I want to see all my friends.
Yeah, that I think just it takes is exposure. See someone have this amount of fun, learn about someone's cool story, and that definitely gets people excited.
And invite a friend.
Yeah,
like if you have a friend who rides a bike, and even if they know the event's on, maybe they don't feel as welcome as you assume they do. Send them a personalized invite. Say, hey, I'm going on this ride tomorrow. I don't know if you're busy, but do you want to come along? Yeah, sometimes we just need a little bit of a nudge, and sometimes we're not so confident. Maybe we think a certain bunch is a little too fast, because maybe our average speed on Strava is 15 mile an hour, and the average speed of the bunch is 18 mile an hour, but there's not that correlation and understanding that you can still ride with those people. So just to kind of lower the barrier to entry, really.
Yeah. Anything else? No? I have some questions. Imagine that. Paige, are you doing anything special on Peter's bike for the mud or for Unbound in general?
I think we are going to try to coat all the frames for Peta's and all the other athletes as well with sort of a slicking compound.
It's kind of like a graphene spray, isn't it? Like it's.
Oh, I'm embarrassed to say I don't actually remember the name of the spray, but it's being special delivered to the house as we speak.
That's so much fancier than when I used to race cyclocross, and we would just put butter.
Yeah.
Olive oil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's great. Betsy, you got anything?
Well, first, I actually have a question for anyone. Is it really that muddy out there? I rode yesterday and I didn't find it to be that muddy. So maybe we're overhyping it.
I think it's like a highway. That iconic mud section, 10 Mile In at the moment, is apparently running like a highway, but we know that can change overnight, and if it does, they're not taking it out. Yeah, I think this course is quite interesting, because I think there's not that many pressure points really throughout the race. If there is no mud early on, it's really hard to tell how many points the race can break up. It's a few climbs between the first and second feed zone, a few minimum maintenance roads, but not a lot. So I think in a way, for the race to be really exciting, maybe we need a little bit of rain tonight.
All right. Weather gods heard Peter.
Yeah. Well, I do have a mechanic to wash my bike post-race, so that really helps. Thanks, Paige.
Okay, I do have one baking question.
That's what we're really here for.
I've been waiting because I just wanted to make sure we talked about bikes enough. But I'm curious, what's been like the most challenging project you've embarked on? Because I've seen English muffins, donuts, biscotti, scones, like all of that seems really high level to me. What's been a really challenging baking product or one you're very proud of?
I think that like each one is kind of hard in its own way, but I kind of did that to myself. Like I'll take one item of baked good and then I will make it every day for 10 days and like change something little. And I'm a chemist, guys.
A chemist and like a professional athlete. So track.
So I'll like, how can I make this? I'm also really competitive, right? So how can I make this the best scone anyone's ever had in their whole life? And then I'll never make a scone again. I also don't write anything down, so I'm like, I don't know what I did.
Oh no.
That was amazing. Don't know what I did. I made a galette. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh.
It's like a pie, kind of, or like, I don't know.
She didn't write it down, guys. Don't get too excited.
I do try to take a picture of most things that I make.
Was baking something you did at all before?
No.
Yeah.
I'm not very patient, so I don't like. I feel like
But you're a chemist. Don't you have to have patience?
That's why she became a bike rider. She wasn't a great chemist either.
I'm not a chemist anymore. I want my food now. Like I'm a cook. Like,
Yeah.
give me the food now.
Fair.
I don't want it in 40 hours when the sourdough is going to be done.
Yeah.
Right.
It takes that long. Did you
No,
know that?
I bake a lot, so yeah.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I answered your question. But yeah.
I'm curious if that, like, impatience, taking it back to bikes, does that play out in bike racing? Because you have to be patient.
Ooh.
She's not patient.
No.
I race. She's not patient.
But sometimes it works.
Yeah?
And then I win.
Being patient or impatient?
Impatient.
Impatient. Okay.
Making the move.
Secret
Gotta
to
make the
success.
move.
Yeah.
Well, if there are no more questions.
I have one question for Melisa.
Oh, great.
Oh.
So you were supposed to do, obviously, Absecamp with Kate Courtney, and I hear she's not coming to Leadville. Is Kate Courtney's record in trouble this year?
Ooh. If my year goes to plan, then yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You heard it. Yes.
That's great.
I'll do a Tobin and motor pace you the first 2 minutes. then say I contributed.
Great. I mean, that was a wonderful note to end on. So we're just going to wrap it up here. And thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Liv, for hosting us. And good luck out there, Peta.
Thank you.
And good luck
need
to
it.
all of you
Yeah,
who are
exactly.
racing tomorrow. Yeah. Thanks for coming.